Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, so here we are for another group of fantastic questions. We're going to jump to them in just a minute, but before we do, we've got some super important information for you. First of all, first and foremost, don't forget the YouTube magic. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell and leave a comment. It's super important that you do. Okay, it's really important because by doing so, you increase the Kendo population. I don't know if you knew this, I say it every week, but if it's your first time here, you're about to learn something that's going to blow your mind, okay? You have to like, you have to share. When you subscribe, if you click the little down arrow thing, a little bell thing that is there, it says notifications. What that is for is notifying YouTube that it has to do its job and go and find people who are ready to start Kendo. So you click that bell to activate it. Then you type a comment down below that uses the word Kendo. Something like, what an amazing, brilliant Kendo video. And then YouTube sets out a crack team of ninjas, robotic ninjas, I think they are. And it finds people who are about to start Kendo or likely to start Kendo. And it shows them videos about Kendo from maybe this channel or channels similar to it, and then they decide to do Kendo and we grow the Kendo population. All right, last year we got more than 6 million people starting Kendo doing this. Probably that's the number that we got, and this year we're aiming for 7 million. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. It's not, YouTube didn't tell me that, but I've kind of figured it out myself. It's my own theory, but I'm pretty sure that that's correct. So make sure you do that. Like, share, notifications, so you notify YouTube, and then write the comment down there so that they know who they're looking for. All right, and let's get those ninjas to work and let's get more people doing Kendo around the world. More importantly than that though, is if there could be anything more important, but believe me, there is. You have to support the channel. If you like what I'm doing, if you like these videos, if you like the content that I put out, whether it's these Kendo rants where I answer your questions, it won't be very good of me asking you questions, but answering your questions, doing feedback. We did a feedback video yesterday where you wonderful people send in some footage, we watch it together and we all learn something, hopefully. Whether it's the instructional content, the analysis stuff. I did an analysis video the other day of my match that I did in the tournament Kenkaku in Japan last year. All sorts of great stuff. And you know what? It's all free. It's all free. We don't ask you for a subscription. We don't charge you for subtitles. We don't do any of that sort of stuff. It's all there for free. All you have to do to support us is shop at KendoStar.com. And the great thing about that is that it's a big win-win situation because KendoStar is the best Kendo equipment website in the history of the human race and the future of it as well. It's the best Kendo equipment store ever to have existed and ever to ever exist ever after. Okay, now of course, I would say that because I own the place, but everybody agrees with me. You can have a look. We're the highest rated by far. You get brilliant Kendo equipment, the best in the business. You get the best service, which is most important. And you're going to shop with us anyway. So don't waste your money elsewhere before deciding you should have come to us in the first place. Come to us in the first place. And then, as the ancient Japanese samurai proverb goes, everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. So let's get to these questions. I almost did it all with a straight face. Okay, let's get to these questions. I have a KendoStar victory program. Men, fantastic. Good. Congratulations. It's a great men, isn't it? I love my victory set as well. And I found out that a number of men's that I've tried and used, the padding and futon around my face is such that the victory prevents the fogging up of my glasses the most. I'm looking for something similar. as a backup men and was wondering what other men on the KendoStar lineup has a similar pattern or shape like that. The Victory set is highly recommended. Victory is great, isn't it? It is. So I think the best thing to say is essentially all of the KendoStar brands, with the slight exception of the Hinomaru series, they're made by the same craftsman. Okay, so the Hinomaru series is made by different craftsmen because they're made in Japan, and they're super excellent as well. But if you're looking for something that has the exact same type of fit and uchiwa as the uchiwa is the bit that goes on your face like that, by the way, as the Victory, then any of the KendoStar series will have that. But I'd particularly recommend going for one that is made to your exact measurements, which is what you'll have had with the Victory, so that you make sure that you definitely get any sort of micro fittings that are different. I mean, look, most people, there's no problem at all. I'm not knocking like in stock sizes, because in stock sizes are perfectly fine. For the vast majority of uses and for people. But if we're talking about something that's super subtle like this, about the amount of it's going to steam up your glasses or not, then you might have a little bit more success in recreating what you've got with your Victory by ordering another custom made one. All right. So yeah, that's what I would say. Okay. And I'm glad you love the Victory. I love mine as well. It's super cool. Super cool. Simple, but elegant. Great Kendo video. There we go. This one knows, you know, right? Get those ninjas to work. 2 short questions for the next one. First, is there a chance KendoStar might start stocking red oak bokken at some point? And if not, is there a reason why I shouldn't want one? Personally, I like the red oak look much better. Secondly, on hybrid Kendogi like the Kurenai, I wonder if the polyester mesh doesn't increase the all too common odor Kendogi takes on after some heavy practice. In my experience, cotton Kendogi take way longer to smell, so how washing them is fine, as you don't have to do it every time. But polyester Kendogi needs a machine wash after every practice. With an Aizomi set like the Kurenai, having to wash that too often because of the lining smells would be a real shame. Maybe I'm imagining a problem though. So, okay, so first question about the red oak bokken. We can get you a red oak bokken if you want. Just fire us an email. I don't have a massive plan to stock them right now, because generally, if I can get back in focus, there we go. Generally, white oak is slightly stronger. Okay, it's slightly stronger than red oak. And at the moment, like the bokken market in Japan has just gone crazy, because a couple of years ago, one of the big suppliers shut down. It's a real challenge to get good quality bokken at the moment. So when I found some good quality white oak ones that we could get and keep in stock all the time, I could kind of grab that opportunity with both hands. I could potentially look into doing it with red oak, but the thing is the cost wouldn't be all that much different, and I think the white oak ones are a better product. So I kind of feel there's something that doesn't sit quite right with me doing that, but I don't know, maybe I'll look into it. We can get it for you anyway. You might have to wait a couple of weeks, but we can sort it out. Just fire us an email, mail@kendostar.com. About the Kurenai Kendogi, you raise a really good point, because you are correct. The polyester Kendogi, things like the kachi, if you don't wash that after every practice, it is going to stink, like super stink, and it's going to be like proper ammonia-y. It's gross. So you definitely need to make sure you wash something like the kachi after every practice. Now with the Kurenai, actually you don't get the same sort of issue. It's a slightly different, I think it's a different type of weave in the fabric or something. I'm not exactly sure why it's like that, but I've been using the Kurenai myself for what have we had it out for 2 years yet? I think we have, but since we basically brought it out, and I definitely don't have that issue. I just treat it the same as any other cotton Kendogi, washing it every sort of few practices by hand, hanging it to dry, that sort of thing. I'm gonna make a video pretty soon actually about Kendogi Care, Kendogi and Hakama Care, because I was doing it myself yesterday. I was thinking, this could make a good video, so I will do that. But in my experience, I've never had anyone complain about the mesh lining in the Kurenai causing that issue either. So I don't think you get the same issue with it. I really don't. So I don't think it's something you need to worry about. Okay. Next one, right. So I'm really happy with the random selection I got last month. My new cotton door is, I think Kendogi maybe, is super comfortable. What's the best way to keep it in good condition so it stays soft? Trickier sensei, trickier question. I'm reading ahead. A lot of our sensei are unwell at the minute, which means sometimes I'm the most senior person at practice with a lot of kyusha. I'm only Nidan, so I can usually spot when something doesn't quite look right, if I can get that in the right order. But I don't know nearly enough to actually correct people properly. Apart from demonstrating better form so they can watch and copy, what else would you suggest the next time I'm leading practice and don't know exactly how to fix things? Okay, so the random selection, talking about the lucky bundle, right, that we were offering on the website. I think it's still up there. If you do a little bit of investigative work on KendoStar, and if you're not watching this too far in the future, you might still be able to grab yourself a lucky bundle if you're fast, because they're coming down soon, no doubt about it. They're coming down soon, but if you want to grab one, you're gonna have to be fast. But I think they are still up there right now. You got a nice Kendogi in it. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which Kendogi you got, but in terms of the best way to keep it in good condition is don't wash it every single time. Just wash it every couple of times you wear it, and wash it by hand. Don't wash it with soap. Don't wash it with soap. You can put a drop in the water. You can put a drop of fabric softener in if you want to, but only a bit. Don't put loads in. Soak it in there for a bit, and then change the water and do it again with clean water. And then let it hang to dry. Yeah, I mean, just do it that way. It will remain soft, pretty much. It will remain soft. It won't go all hard and stuff. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just be gentle with it. Okay. In terms of the issue that you've got at your dojo, it's a really good question, but I would just keep it basic. All right. I keep it basic. I think at Nidan, you're qualified to be able to identify simple mistakes, right? Is somebody's back straight? Is their left foot pointed out to the left, or is it straight? Are their hips straight? And are they over gripping the shinai? I guess is the main things to look out for, and like the height of the kensen and stuff like that. And after that, it's just going to be about you getting experience of watching for these things, identifying them, and then communicating that to the person that needs help with it, to be honest. But you do know what the issues are that you're looking for, right? So you just need to identify them and let them know, and then help them get to it more in the way that you're doing it, for example. And it's not all on you. It's not all on you. Yeah. A large part of the onus is on them, right? Once you've identified that, it's for them to fix as well. Right? They have part of the responsibility. So don't be too hard on yourself. Okay. I'm sure you'll manage. I think you're fine at Nidan. You'll be fine looking after Kyusha. Okay. Hello from New Zealand. Hello. Keep up the great work, Andy Saints. Thank you very much. I'll do my best. My question is 2 parts. Having been a competitor for the GB national team and now coaching, how does the pressure compare? And what routines to prepare for Shiai crossover? Thanks. Oh, that is a good question. That is a good question. So I played for the national team. I think I was on it for 12 or 13 years, something like that. I was one of the longer serving members that we've had so far. One of. I played for a long time, from being pretty young. I think I was 21 when I first actually went on a trip with the team. So yeah, and I retired probably a bit earlier than I had to be honest, but I had a lot of things going on. We were just starting up KendoStar. We were sort of not sure if we were staying in Japan or if we were going to move over to the UK, and we had a lot of stuff going on. As most of you know, I've got 2 kids as well, and it takes up a lot of your life to compete at that level. Especially, if you're doing it with complete seriousness, which I was. It was consuming a large part of my life. So I was ready to, you know, and there was other things as well. There was other things in terms of the dynamics of the team at the time that wasn't really fitting for me. So it was time for me to step away. But the experience I gained was super valuable. Super duper valuable in terms of my position now. Now I've started as the coach of our team, which I only started from last year, July last year, I think I started. So the pressure is totally different. All right, the pressure is totally different. I did our first sort of proper event with our team a couple of weeks ago. We went to Budapest for a sort of practice event there with a lot of it's like the national teams gathering, it's called. Teams from all over the world, all over Europe, and teams from Australia, team from Japan was there. It was super good. And yeah, I did feel a lot of pressure, but it was a different type of pressure that I felt than when I was a player. And I don't think I felt it to the same extent. And that's largely because the guys and girls that I've got in our team right now are absolutely fantastic. They're absolutely brilliant, and I really felt that they were a reliable group that I could. You know, I've seen how hard they've been pushing themselves, how hard they were trying, and how hard they've been training. And I knew they were going to give it everything they've got. And I know that they're very capable. So I had a lot of faith in them. And that took a lot of pressure off me, I think, in that regard, you know, that I probably would have felt otherwise if I wasn't as confident in them. But they're not just ability, but their sort of cohesion of the team and their behaviour as a team, and their effort that they've given to the purpose over the last sort of 6 months, a bit more, really helped me sort of be a bit at ease at it. Now, there was, of course, other pressures. You know, it was a whole new game for me as well, because I had to think more about, you know, as a player, I was, okay, right, my coach has told me to play in this position and, you know, and go and do this or whatever. I only really had to focus on myself. I mean, I had to focus on the team sort of, but not in the same way. And this time I'm thinking about, okay, what is with this group of players that I've got, what are their strengths, what are their potential weaknesses, and what is going to be the best team order, and what is going to be the best way to make sure that we get the maximum out of our 5 players when we put them out on the Shiaijo, and what's going to be the best way we warm them up in the morning, and what's going to be the best way to motivate them and stop them losing momentum, and making sure that they're hydrated, and making sure that they're active, and making sure that they're motivated, and making sure that they're their understanding of everything that's going on, and that the whole event is going as smoothly and easy for them as it possibly can, is all new things for me. So, but like I said, luckily, you know, I'm not doing it on my own either. There's we're a team of 4. There's myself as a coach. We've got an assistant coach, and we've got 2 managers as well. I've got a manager and an assistant manager. And as a team, we really pulled together as well. And I was really able to lean on them for support. And I couldn't have done it without them either. So, it's been a really new experience, and I'm really looking forward to hitting the Worlds in July. Because I really think that our team is gonna do great there. I've got every faith in them. And in terms of routines to prepare for the Shiai that cross over, I don't know if it's routines, but I think there's not much routines that cross over, but definitely my experience having been in their position made a huge difference. Has made a huge difference, and especially as I mean, I think there's a couple of lads on the team, for example, that were team members in the latter days of my time as a player. So they remember me as a player as well. It's not like, you know, I was a player years and years and years ago and none of them know anything about me. And a lot of the boys as well, and some of the girls, but I mean, one of the girls in particular, I've known since being a child, because she's my daughter. So, but you know, from this time in Budapest. But even the boys, you know, I've known a lot of them since they were young lads, whether they were on the junior team or things like that. So I've got a really great rapport with them, I think, and I think that you know, I'm able to relate my experiences to the situations that they're in. Whether they understand from my point of view or not, probably not, because I don't think I would have at their point either. You know, I'm not saying oh, you know, I'm not saying that when I say to them, oh yeah, I know what it's exactly like for you lads, like sort of thing. I'm not sure that they relate to that, because I probably wouldn't have if I were them either. But the fact is I do know what it was like for them, and I do know that if we do this in a certain way, how it's going to feel for them, or if we do it in that way, how it's going to feel for them, or what kind of, you know, what kind of mistakes I made as a player in terms of my own practice, for example, or progression, how I can help them avoid those same pitfalls. I think have all been really, really important and really helpful aspects for me, having been a previous player. So yeah, I'm not sure if that directly answers your question, but there you go. Hello from Buenos Aires, Fisher Sensei. I have this question. Is it more difficult to Shimpan, for Shimpan to adjudicate Ippon for Gyaku-Do than other waza? I believe a percentage of Gyaku-Do that get flags up is quite low, but maybe I'm wrong. I fail to see a clear criteria about it too. Maybe that's why it's not used more frequently. Perhaps you can share your view and experience over this. Yeah, so it's not, I don't think it's necessarily more difficult for experienced Shimpan to judge Ippon for Gyaku-Do. I think that the main reason you see lots of Gyaku-Do being attempted and failing to receive Ippon is because they do not meet the criteria. I think probably 80% of Gyaku-Do that I tend to see, certainly outside of Japan, tend to be like what I would call teuchi. So basically just the hands hitting, just the hands like this with the hands, and not actual kikentai no ichi. So I think the biggest issue is with players rather than Shimpan. And it's not that Gyaku-Do has a particularly special criteria. It doesn't. All of the Ippon, all of the Datotsu, sorry, have the same criteria, actually. So the strike has to meet those criteria of Yuko Datotsu, and be made with proper and full Kikentai no Ichi. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think most people tend to smash at the door with their hands. Often they'll break their posture by leaning forward as they do it. And sometimes they'll hit and they'll turn their back away and run away or something like that, maybe. So it lacks several areas in the correct criteria of Yuko Datotsu. I think I've talked about Gyaku-Do on the channel, but Gyaku-Do has to be done with a unification of the Shinai and the body, and of course the spirit with Zanshin. Okay, so you can't mess around with your posture. Your posture has to be correct. You have to turn your hips as you strike. Keep your left hand in the middle of your body, even if your body is turning this way. Keep your posture, keep your attention towards your opponent. Even if you lose eye contact for a second, bring it back to them as soon as possible and have the correct either separation or closing in. It's not an easy Ippon to score. I used to score it reasonably often back in the day. But again, I think it really is a case of meeting the criteria rather than the Shimpan being strict or not understanding it. There is times, of course, when when the Shimpan don't understand it because they don't practice it. And that's why it's important for Shimpan to be active practitioners as well. And then the other thing that people do with Gyaku-Do that they sort of get wrong they're hitting with just their hands, and then there's no like consideration for the opportunity. So generally for Gyaku-Do to be considered ippon, the opportunity, like with any other strike, the opportunity has to be correct. So the person just in their kamae, for example, and you whip the shinai underneath their elbow and hit their door, for example, generally isn't considered the valid strike. But if the person's like feet are totally planted and their arms are up like this trying to defend themselves, then if you get them into that position, then you make a good strike with good posture, good kikentai no ichi, and good zanshin, then it's ippon. Okay. It can be an ojuwaza as well, but that's a different thing altogether. Fish Sensei, thank you for sharing your kenkaku experience. No problem. Listen, if you haven't seen that, go and watch it, because I had a great time at Kenkaku. It was really interesting day, really different from a normal kendo tournament. And I made a video about it, and I show the footage. I review my match from it. So go and have a watch of it. You talked about when you were looking for opportunities to perform Kaishi Gyaku-Do. Men Kaishi Gyaku-Do is exactly what it was, yeah. In your analysis video of your match, I admittedly tried this myself with mixed success in friendly keiko. I since focused on normal Kaishi-Do to do better focus on more basic waza. Probably a good idea. Here's my question. What opportunities or situation would you be looking for to perform Kaishi Gyaku-Do? And what would be required for Shimpan to raise the flag? Is it similar to Gyaku-Do where the opponent would need to have their hands raised or something else? So, I use Kaishi Gyaku-Do more since coming back to Europe, because most of the people that I practice with are taller than me. And it's a little bit easier for me to strike. As I say, I'm not bad at Gyaku-Do as anyway. And a lot of people strike kind of this way. So it gives me the space to do it. But the opportunities are pretty much similar to normal Kaishi-Do as well. So this Kaishi-Do is fine, and this Kaishi-Do is also fine, but this one is much harder, all right? So just bear that in mind. In terms of what's required for the Shimpan, it's the same as Kaishi-Do. It's the same as Kaishi-Do. The opponent has to be committed to trying to strike your men, and you have to properly deflect and make the clear good strike with kikentai no ichi and zanshin with good posture. I think most people fail to make the ippon with normal Kaishi-Do because, again, like with the Gyaku-Do we were talking before, they just do the touchi and they just hit like with their hands. So that's another thing to consider. And actually, I've got a video in the works at the moment. All right, it's in the works right now, about Gyaku-Do, normal, not Gyaku-Do, sorry, Kaishi-Do, men Kaishi-Do, and it's about it's normal men Kaishi-Do. It's not Gyaku-Do. It's just normal Kaishi-Do. But I talk about, you know, how to. It's going to be. I will be talking about how to improve it and the mistakes that people make with it. So look out for that. Okay, next one. This is the last one. We're nearly there. Okay, so, hello, Fish Sensei. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out with a question about the concept of stepping back in Kendo. In my exploration of various sources, I've encountered conflicting views on the matter. While the Nishimura documentary portrays stepping back as cowardly, I've noticed it's prevalent in matches featuring Eigo Sensei in the All Japan Championships. I'm curious if stepping back is similar to blocking, perhaps not explicitly encouraged but acceptable in Shiai to avoid a strike, confuse the opponent and maintain Ma'ai if they advance. Despite my attempts to understand, I find this topic somewhat perplexing. Additionally, I remember the Nishimura documentary mentioning Uchimura as a great example. I'm intrigued by this and I plan to watch his matches to gain further insights into his movements. Any guidance or insights you could provide on this would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance for your time and assistance. Okay, so here's the thing. I know exactly what documentary you're talking about. I think I did a translation of it once. I don't know if I did. I can't remember. But the whole stepping back thing, and it is similar to the idea of blocking, in my opinion. But I also think there's a massive misnomer surrounding blocking, which I've talked about in the past as well. So yeah, I don't think blocking is only acceptable in Shiai. Blocking is, you know, obviously this is not a good, this kind of sampo mamori it's called. This is not a tactically effective strategy, right? Right? But it's not correct either to say like it's wrong to block, right? Or to defend yourself, because it's kind of nonsense. It's nonsensical anyway. And I think the same can be said in terms of stepping back. Now, if you're like fleeing, you're retreating like this, that's a result of your opponent's semi, right? But if you're keeping your attention towards your opponent and you're adjusting the distance, then that's a tactical choice, right? And that's exactly what you've seen with like Eiga Sensei, for example, or other things you see in the Old Japans. And Nishimura-san himself had a lot of success with it. What he said in that documentary was more, if I remember, I'm just going off the top of my head, but what he specifically said was, if watched from the outside, and I think he's kind of thinking about people probably that don't do Kendo as well, but like the general person, and maybe it means Kendo people as well, it looks better to be going forward than it does to be going backwards. And that's basically his point. And all right, fine. But that's kind of subjective for a start. Yeah, it's kind of subjective. I don't necessarily think he's wrong in saying that. But at the same time, I don't think he's also saying, "Oh, you're a total coward if you step backwards. You must only step forwards." I don't think that's the message he's trying to put across either. I think you have to control your distance. I think you can use a step back as a way to perform what's called hikidashi, yeah. So get them to overcommit. I use that quite a lot, actually. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem. If you spend the shiai just running backwards the whole time, yeah, it's not great. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I remember watching that sort of Nishimura-san documentary, and when he said that, I was like, I think people are going to kind of misconstrue that one. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't think you need to agonize over it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be running away all the time. But yeah, you can use a step back to adjust the mai, or even to encourage the opponent to overcommit. That's perfectly acceptable. Perfectly acceptable. I don't think there's any negative connotation to that. And there shouldn't be. All right, that's my opinion anyway. All right, and there we go. We're at the end of the show. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. I hope you've got a fantastic weekend planned ahead full of Kendo. Don't forget to set those YouTube ninja robots out to go and get people by like, sharing, subscribing, notifications, leave a comment, and most importantly, shop at KendoStar. See you next time. Bye-bye.